Yitzchak, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Chaim, for setting this up. Thank you to everybody who came. Thank you for all the helpers. First of all, thank you to the Kehillah, and particularly those that come to this Shiur. And the thanks is that really two parts of it. Number one is, Baruch Hashem, this has become a teaching Kehillah, a learning Kehillah. That's what it's about. There's a lot of different models of what a Kehillah could be, and Baruch Hashem, this is a model of Limud Torah, and even Limud Torah that is not usual and it's not regular and it's not standard in the world. We do that also, have all kinds of shiurim, but we've grown together to really very deep concepts and very high concepts. The other thanks is to the Kehillah, because to be perfectly honest, I doubt if I would have gone through Nefesh Hachaim in this type of depth if there wasn't people that were listening and I didn't have to give a shiur. So the Nefesh Hachaim, as was pointed out, is much more than the Nefesh Hachaim in our shiur. Probably, you were talking about like holding marbles in your hand. I think I've lost mine somewhere along the line. But it's what's really going on in the shiur is that, of course, we got through every concept of the Nefesh Hachaim, most of the concepts of the Balatanya, hundreds of concepts of the Ramchal. I don't know if you realize it, but almost all the Agados of Chazal, Be'iyun, and more as Ad Mokum Sheyodi Magas. There's millions and millions of miles of Torah and depth that I have no musag in, and our sponsor pointed out, he says, do you know what word you say the most in the shiurim? So I said, what? So he said, I don't know. And it's not just like a shtick, I really don't know. I don't, but as much as we can know, that's what we have to know. And so Baruch Hashem, we've been through so much different Torah and Hasagas, and even Machlokes, the few Machlokes that there are in Yonim of Tzimtzum, of between the Balatanya, or we've gone through so many Hasidic Svarim, so many Bnei Yisachars. And I'm very, very proud of it, and the Baruch Hashem, my Nefesh Hachaim is marked throughout, and I hope that my neshama is also marked throughout from the limud, meaning I hope that it's internalized and that helps in our avodas Hashem. The end of the Nefesh Hachaim, Shaar Daled, I was mentioning to the Rosh HaKol that in a lot of yeshivas they learn Nefesh Hachaim, but they really learn Shaar Daled, which is about limud Torah. And I understand that, but it's really difficult to understand what he really means in Shaar Daled if you didn't learn Shaar Aleph, Beis, and Gimel, like any book. Just doesn't work, but I understand it because so much of the earlier parts have to do with more maybe what they see as Kabbalistic inyanim, and it doesn't fit into the standard curriculum of a yeshiva. There are those that go deeper and they learn Shaar Daled, but they also learn Shaar Aleph, which is like the general under the hood, how does the world work? And then there are those that go to Shaar Beis, and Shaar Beis is tefillah, and it's, as was said, extremely deep and meaningful as to what happens when we daven and how to daven. Shaar Gimel, very few people learn. I was sitting next to Rav Leuchter once, and I said to him, I use your sefer on Nefesh Hachaim a lot. So he said, how so? I told him I give a shiur in Nefesh Hachaim. So he says, you teach him Shaar Gimel? That was his comment, you teach him Shaar Gimel? And the Prakim? So I said, yeah, we don't skip. Not into skipping. It wasn't brought up that way. And if he put it there, it's probably he wants us to learn it. No, it didn't come with instructions that said, learn Aleph, Beis, skip Gimel, and do Dalet. Probably that's the way and he wrote the Sefer for us, for B'nai Torah. He didn't write it for the Talmidim of the Arizal. So anyways, so I thank everybody for giving me that opportunity in a very deep way. At the end of the Nefesh Hachaim, end of Shaar Dalet, he describes the Pshat and Limud HaTorah. And the Pshat, which is really the goal of his whole Sefer. The Pshat and Limud HaTorah is not, of course, just information that we know, and it's not even just how to be. It's a much deeper thing than that. It's that, if you could say such a thing, Bekitzer, I will, in two sentences, bli neder, and that is that Hashem created the world using the Or Ein Sof. That's how the world came to be, with this infinite light, lamashal. And the Torah is called Oy Raisa, Ner Mitzvah V'Torah Or. The Torah is referred to as Or because Istakel B'Raisa Ubar Alma. He took this Torah, and somehow or another, through through the whole Sefer, he explains how that turned into the world of touch and feel, the world that we know, the world that we experience on a regular basis. If one learns Torah, and the more and the deeper, obviously the better, one is actually taking that Or, that Ein Sofius, that infinite Or, taking the infinity and integrating it and ingesting it into who they are, and then we become that Or. And if we become that Or, so then we're creating the Malchus Hashem, and we're bringing Or into the whole world, but even on a more personal level, we're really alive. Because people that, there's other ways to be alive, but they're really dead. I mentioned this, I was telling a few people that I gave a shiur this week to a group in Tel Aviv of seemingly unreligious people. Certainly not familiar with this type of limud, but I explained a little bit of the marechet to how we're created and what we can become a part of with the Atzilus Bria Yitzira Siya, with the sphere. I was just a little bit, just a little bit of explanation. These are people that were claimed to be secular. And I said to them that here's where free choice comes in. Bechira Chafshit, because one has a choice now. Do you want to be part of this marechet? Do you want to be attach yourself to the world of Yitzira and the world of Bria, and like Moshe Rabbeinu, hold on to the Kisei HaKavod, and then get to the world of Atzilus? Do you want to be part of the light that's coming into this world? Or, I asked them, do you want to be a cat? Or a squirrel? Or an ant? Or a tree? Because that's totally defies our humanity, our purpose. You could do it, and you could even stay alive for quite a long time in this world. But you can't be part of the reason that Hashem created us, which is to create Malchus in this world. That you can't do. So that was my question to them. And I explained to them that, a person can decide, b'chira chafshis, a person can't decide to be something they're not. So you can't decide to be a monkey if you're a person, but you can decide to act like a monkey. At which point this woman pointed at her husband. Okay. This is the Or Ein Sof. Mamash an Or Ein Sof, infinity, and we become a cup full of light. I just want to share with you that in this particular edition of the Nefesh Hachaim, and you have 3 or 4, I have 8 or 9. But here he brings, towards the end, he brings the Chafetz Chaim in his Akdama to the Mishnah Berurah. And the Chafetz Chaim says this is his lashon. Chafetz Chaim says that the Torah says v'chai bahem, as everybody knows. The Tirgum Unkelus, v'chai bahem b'chaye alma, which I'm not sure if everyone knows. B'chaye alma. So says the Chafetz Chaim Zatzal, V'amarti bevir ha'dvarim. I explained this, Ki chol ha'nivroim b'shamayim u'va'aretz, af ha'gavoya shebegavoyim tzarech hashpa'as Hashem yisbarach. Nothing can be alive without Hashem having his hashpa on him. Ba'ata machayes kulam. Hashem keeps everything alive. In other words, he means whether we're talking about plants or whether we're talking about people or malachim, whatever celestial being we might be talking about. Ukisha nefesh mistateres ba'olam hazeh agashmi. Now we're humans, and our neshama, our nefesh, is sort of hidden within us. Mikabelas is mezayna derech dvarim gashmi. It is possible, is what he means, to get your sustenance through physical things. Ubechushim gashmiyim. You can get your joy in life through gashmis. It's possible to do. Aval ba'olam haba shanashama hi nitzchi sarashia mezayna inyan dak ruchani nitzchi. Olam haba, there's all the things that we can enjoy here in this world. Don't fool yourself. That we don't. In Olam haba, we should be zochet Olam haba. So it's not about eating good grapes or steaks or hamburgers or that's lahavdil a Muslim idea. It's not what we believe. L'chein HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'roiv chemlosai, Hashem with his rachamim nasan lanu es haTorah kedosha she nitzchas. He gave us the Torah here in this world, which is coming from a different world. V'al yedei kiyuma meir or Hashem al nafshenu. And by keeping the Torah, we're actually taking this infinite light, which is really an Olam Haba idea, and we're bringing it into our own lives. Like, we could live like this. We could mamish live like this. This could be our dinner table. This can be our chinuch to our children. We could live like this. Umei oisei or anu misangim shehu min tainug ruchani. And your ta'anug becomes completely different. Your ta'anug is not just a gashmi as well, that felt good, that smells good, but it's actually a ta'anug ruchani. This is what we mean when we say v'chaye oilam nata b'seichenu. That we could take a chaye oilam and we can plant it or be mashrish it within us. Ki ha'Torah hi laha nefesh k'mo eitz ha'chaim shebegan Eden. And the Chaim made a reference to it that the last things that the Nefesh Hachaim speaks about is the Eitz Chaim. And I explained the Eitz Chaim, the Eitz Chaim, the real Eitz Chaim was in Gan Eden. And we don't know too much about the Eitz Chaim. We hear a lot about the Eitz Hadas, Toivura. Don't hear much about the Eitz Hachaim. All we know about the Eitz Hachaim is it was there. Rashi says, dead center, probably a bad term, in the center of the Gan, exactly in the center. B'toich hagan, Rashi says be'emtza, for whatever that means. And then we know that when we were evicted from Gan Eden, so the Torah tells us that Hashem put the Kruvim outside of Gan Eden with a cherev amishapeches, not to let us back into Gan Eden. Pen, because maybe we're going to walk back on the derech Eitz Chaim and eat from the Eitz Chaim v'chai lo olam. We still would have been chai lo olam. So all of a sudden, I guess I'm just guessing this. When there's no misa, we weren't running to the Eitz Hachaim. But once there's misa, we're gonna let's take a dash back into Gan Eden and eat from the Eitz Hachaim. But the deeper pshat, like some Eitz Hachaim, like the Arizal and Rav Chaim Vital called their Svarim Eitz Chaim. But the deeper pshat is that and this is the pshat, the Or Chaim says that this is the pshat in the pasuk for real, that the Eitz Chaim was a system of Hashem giving this or into man. And we could have just taken the Eitz Chaim and we could have just eaten from that Eitz Chaim. Take a bite and you have or. We're in Gan Eden, we're Adam Arishan Koydem Achet. But then we were chota with the Eitz Hadas. And once we're chota with the Eitz Hadas and thrown out of Gan Eden, not so easy anymore. It's not so easy anymore. You can't just go grab it, bite it, ingest it, feel it. No. We have kruvim that are standing outside the Gan Eden, not letting us do that. What do we have? So says Rav Nefesh Hachaim, we have what Shlomo HaMelech called the Eitz Chaim Hilama Chazikim Bo. That's the Torah. Because this is a slow process. It's a difficult process. It's not taking a bite. It's about taking this Or Hashem. This is a lot of work. So what it means is, it's like the difference between the luchos rishonos and luchos shnios. The luchos rishonos, here's Torah, here's Or, here's everything. But then we did the chet we did the chet to Egel, and that wasn't what was going to be anymore. That's what was going to be now. Now you have to do it with Hamelos. Now you're going to have to work to eat from that Eitz Chaim. The same Eitz Chaim in the Gan Eden, now you have to work, but we can do it, and we can get it. And the Nefesh Hachaim says, with my interpretation, that Hashem said to Yehoshua, Lo yamush sefer HaTorah zeh mipicha, v'yigisa bo yomim v'layla. Very familiar pasuk, and that from there comes out most of the dinim of Kehillas Shivtei Yeshurun, of learning Torah, comes from that pasuk. And we know Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam, but I asked in the Shiur, the Chapella, that such as a Yisoidistic pasuk, it was out of the Torah, it was every Yeshua. I mean, that's Chashav is in Yeshua, like most people don't even learn Tanakh. So this should be like one of the 10 Commandments. That should be right there, up right next to Anochi Hashem Elokecha, Asher Tzeisecha Me'eretz Mitzrayim. But the pshat is that Kol's Nitna Torah El Haman. So Kol Zman, we were standing at Har Sinai, and even afterwards, until we would have gone right into Eretz Yisrael, but because of the Meraglim, we didn't. We were Eftecha Picha V'Amaleya. It was all, in the words of the Nefesh Hachaim, in the words of Reb Tzadok, in the words of the Arizal, it was all Isarusa Delayla. It was all something that was just coming for us. It was given to us. Now you're going into Eretz Yisrael, Yoshua bin Nun. Once you're going into Eretz Yisrael, now I'm giving you a different sivui of v'higisa b'yoyim v'layla, that you have to do amelos, because it's no longer going to be about eftecha picha v'amaleyu. Now it's going to be about grabbing, not about grabbing the eights, but about grabbing the opportunity to learn Torah but in a deep way. And by the way, learning Torah in a deep way is not about learning Nefesh Hachaim and learning Reb Tzadok and learning, of course that's learning Torah in a deep way, but it's also about maybe more so learning Tosfos and learning Rashba and getting through, did you ever go through a Beis Yosef, and really learn what the Makor of the Halach is. It's a whole different world. It's a whole different world. That's the Torah Or that he's talking about. That's the V'yigisa b'yayim v'layla. This helps us understand. But what's really happening is like taking this chachma, the chachma's Hashem, not just more than chachma Hashem. It comes from a higher place. The chachma being on the keser. Torah comes from before that even. So we're talking about mamish the Or Hashem, bringing it into our lives, and that's just that's an amazing thing. And just read the last few words of the Nefesh Hachaim. V'dai b'dvarenu eila lamaskil. He's talking about this. Dvarim eila. Dvarenu eila lamaskil asher mitoichem yirav v'yavim darkai b'kodesh. We can better understand Hashem. V'yoichas tzedek darkai. We can understand the tzedek of His ways. Lamoid al mishmeres ha'esek b'Torah ha'kedosha. Always be concerned about this. Are we doing it? Are we getting this Or? Kol hayamim asher hu chai. Let's take the chance. You want to be a cat or you want to be a human. And Nefesh Hachaim ends by saying, and let's take his bracha. V'yasem b'libenu ahavasai v'yirasai. V'yushlam kavanasai b'vrias olamai. We should be mashlam Hashem's kavana in the bria altogether. She'yisukan olam b'malchus shakai. So that finally, let me just put my parentheses. The world is broken. The world isn't. This is not normal. It hasn't been normal for a long time. Maybe when the Beis HaMikdash was standing, but maybe in the time of the Bayis Rishon. But it's broken, and there's so much pain, and there's so much suffering, and there's so much illness, and there's so much. We're looking for a tikkun olam. So a tikkun olam doesn't just mean plant a tree. It means to take the Or Hashem and bring it into this world, שיסוכן עולם במלכות שקי, וידע כל פועל כי אתה פעלתוי. ויקבלו כולם עול מלכוסה יסברך. And everyone will be makabel the all malchus Hashem. כפי הרצון העליון יסברך. As Hashem wants. That's the Ratzon Elyon. V'yiyah, and finally we can get to a place of Hashem Echad U'Shmo Echad. Amen. Ken yehi Ratzon tam v'nishlam b'chi toiv, says the Nefesh Hachaim. Gimel l'seder v'haya ish asher yivchar Hashem chav vav sivan. He finished this limud. The Nefesh Hachaim finished this limud, or writing the limud on chav vav sivan. Einai b'nemane aretz. Baruch atah Hashem lamdeni chukecha gal einai v'habita niflois mitayrasecha. Amen. Just want to make a quick haskalah, then we'll do the mazel tov.